It took millions of years for the Earth to form from a hot, misty state. During that time, there was no way to measure the endless changes happening because time only exists because of humans. Eventually, the Earth took shape, with a molten surface and clouds of vapor all around. It was not a place where any known creatures could live, but old records mention strange beings moving through the flames. The Earth floated in a kind of mist called ether, which the Greeks believed was a vast sea. This idea led to the belief that continents floated on water. The ether was not just regular humidity from the Earth's surface. It was a vital energy that allowed living forms to develop, which would later appear on Earth as different species. Many ancient philosophies say that life came to the Earth from a higher energy realm surrounding it. Interestingly, this belief still exists today. Recent studies in the stratosphere have found living spores up there. Some scientists think that space might hold these spores, which could be tiny seeds that came out of the Earth's energy. It's too early to say what scientists will ultimately conclude about this, and it's also too soon to dismiss the ideas of ancient philosophers. Boehme, a German mystic, talks about the celestial Adam who lived in the heavens, not on Earth. This idea suggests a kind of energy spreading out into the universe. The ancients believed that when people are born, it means the higher parts of them come down from a misty realm outside Earth. This mist is often described by ancient mythologists as a river that separates Earth from the outer universe. For pagans, this river was called the Styx, and for Christians it was the Jordan, where the saved souls gather on the far shore. Greek poets wrote about groups of souls floating in the mist that separates the living from the dead. The living refers to the physical world, while the dead refers to a higher, non-physical realm, though in reality, it might be more accurate to say the opposite. In the biblical story, humans lived in a perfect place before they fell into the cycle of life and death. This perfect place is called a garden, and many religious people have tried to find it in different parts of the world. However, Eden is not on Earth. It is above it, in a higher energy layer that surrounds the planet like a glowing shell. The four rivers represent four streams of energy that support the four kingdoms of the physical world: minerals, plants, animals, and humans. Physically, humans are sustained by the vital energies of nature. While these energies currently flow through us, before humans had physical bodies, they were made of this energy in a different form. In the center of Eden, there was a small area called Paradise. The ancients believed this area was near the North Pole of the etheric globe, which, like the physical Earth, had poles. Studies of cell life show that cells start developing from their north poles, and this is true for planets and other cosmic levels as well. The first connection between the etheric plane and the physical world was at the poles, so physical life flowed down from the etheric state and mainly reached the poles first, which were the first parts of the Earth to solidify. Long ago, it is said that the gods brought the seeds or beginnings of life to the Earth's polar caps. This idea is described in Genesis 6, verse 2, where the sons of God saw the daughters of men and chose wives for themselves. This means that as the Earth's surface cooled, elements were released. These elements, guided by the will of the gods, slowly took shape and formed patterns, much like how a developing cell builds an organism that can support intelligent life. In very ancient times, the first bodies were made of air and water because they responded easily to the creative forces. When these early forms, made from the finer parts of the physical world, developed enough, spirits from the ether above, called the sons of God in the Bible, came down into these new bodies, which are referred to as the daughters of men. More accurately, they are the daughters of Manas, meaning mind, since man literally means mind. While in this perfect state, the beings we now call men were androgynous, meaning they had both male and female traits. It is said that they were created male and female. In the old Kabbalah, they are described as being formed back to back as a male and female organism. This suggests that they held the potential for both positive and negative qualities within themselves. The Garden of Eden had not only the beginnings of human life, but also other forms of life that were yet to appear. It was like a better version of Earth, where different kinds of life developed and got ready for physical existence. This is similar to how wise people today are building non-physical bodies to use after humanity has completed its physical evolution. The name given to the type of life that would become human is Adam, which means species, type, or kind. It does not refer to just one person. Instead, Adam means a type of consciousness with a mind, different from animals and plants that do not have individual intelligence and are called species. While lower forms of life have a simple center of consciousness called a monad, humans have developed theirs into an ego or a sense of I am. Before humans could enter physical existence, there was a long process of evolution. Different forms were created in the material world through natural experimentation. These early forms could not support beings with minds, and eventually disappeared during evolution. It took hundreds of millions of years for forms to develop that were suitable for the celestial Adam to manifest. The forms that were not used, known as the mindless shadows and monsters, are described by Berosus in his Chaldean history as strange creatures made up of parts from animals, birds, and fish with many heads. In the Kabbalah, they are called the kings of Edom, unbalanced giants who disappeared into nothingness. Genesis 6:4 says, "There were giants on the earth in those days." Eventually, through the natural processes from below, forms were created that allowed human life to appear. Once this happened, human consciousness entered a specially prepared part of what seemed to be the animal kingdom. This caused that kingdom to separate from the true animal kingdom, which explains the scientific confusion about the missing link and the origin of human individuality. These are some reasonable conclusions supported by ancient writings and cosmological ideas found in the early chapters of Genesis.